All right, let's take off. Let's begin where we left off. Let's resume where we left off yesterday. This is a speech by the Lubavitcher Rebbe that he spoke in, what do we say, 1962. And it's talking about the giving of the Torah and how it is exactly that the Torah writes, and how it is exactly, what's this here? How it is exactly that what was the accomplishment of the Torah? Because Abraham, he knew the whole Torah before it was given, and in fact, he did the commandments. He was the first Jew. So how could he be the first Jew without the Torah? And if he was the first Jew without the Torah, so then why can't we just be Jews without the Torah? What do we need the Torah for? Abraham could have just taught us what he did. So the Rebbe said the answer is because when God gave the Torah, he made godliness available to everyone in the physical world. The Torah, godliness became physical. Godliness to reveal God became it could be the occupation of everyone in the world, not just great holy people like Abraham who were able to access godliness because of their spirituality in the upper worlds. God, at Mount Sinai, God came down, so to speak, on Mount Sinai, and he also lifted the Jews up so that he became more accessible to even the more simple people. And the more simple people, they became also more refined to God. It says the Abraham meant that this previously mentioned, this idea that I just told you about making God available and the Jewish people was hat aufgetan, which was accomplished. One second, let's make this a little bigger here. Which was accomplished in Mount Sinai. By giving the Torah is marumas. It's also hinted at in the Ten Commandments. The Ten Commandments, they are revealed at the time of the Torah was given. 10 Commandments. So the first 2 commandments they heard directly from God, and they said they couldn't, it was too much. And so Moses, he told them the other 8 commandments. How could one person speak to 3 million people and everybody hears? Says God helped his voice. Hashem yanenu b'kol. But nevertheless, they heard the 10 commandments from God. As they heard the 10 commandments from God, and that was the whole idea of the giving of the Torah. In sich zwei Eufen ersten Blick hechster verschiedene in sehr Yesod mitzvahs. The Jews received the commandments on Mount Sinai, and in Mount Sinai were 2 the highest commandments. The first 2 commandments are, I am God, and you shouldn't have any other gods. Etc. Driktois, this expresses unanplekten and revealed the tiefste inyan, the deepest ideas in Achdus Hashem and the unity of God. The other commandments, aber anhalten as zelcha pshutin, such simple things, be like, for instance, don't kill, don't steal. In this case, don't steal means don't kidnap. Don't steal is mentioned other places in the Torah. It means don't kill. Was selbstverständlicher, which is these things are self-understood. Afilu faran do, what's this? Afilu dur. It's hard to see the difference between a dalet and resh. Durch steinlicher, by normal, regular menschlicher seichel, human intelligence. שלום, שלום, מה שלומך? יופי, טוב. אני משדר משהו. יופי. טוב. אתה תהיה כאן קצת זמן? זה יהיה חצי שעה. אני מקווה שאני פה. אוקיי. היה בחתונו, היה נחמד אתמול, ראיתי את אשתך. החתונו היה קצת מוזר. טוב, בסדר, נדבר. טוב, סליחה, אני... טוב. Okay, I'm sorry. All right, so here we see the 10 commandments. What happened? The Jewish people, they were in Egypt 210 years. They suffered terribly. They got out with tremendous miracles. They came to the mountain was shaking. There was voices, there was thunders, there was a shofar. Their souls jumped out of the bodies. And what did God tell them? Don't kill. These are things that people, the most simple, primitive people, know that if you want to have a normal society, you can't kill each other, right? You can't kill each other. You want to have a normal, functioning country, so you can't steal, you can't. Simple understood things. Thus was there Abishter, that which God had the essence the verse that the 10 Commandments, Zusammen Numen, mentioned together, the Beta, certain Tzivor, and the two types of commandments, namely the highest of high, I am God, and the lowest of lows, don't kill, is oich in the rumors. This is hinted at the farenikon, the unification from Milum and Mata, the highest and the lowest. What do we say? By Abraham, what was high remained high. The world remained the world. Abraham didn't have a permanent effect on the world. He tried to convince people to be as high and as I just say moral as he was. But to bring godliness into the physical world, Abraham wasn't able to do. The 10 Commandments are an example of what giving of the Torah accomplished. On one hand, the essence, I am God, is higher than any of the secrets of the Torah. It's higher than any Kabbalistic ideas. It's higher than the angels. It's higher than the heavens, the highest of the highest heavens. God, who creates the whole thing, that's I. And God said, and you can't have any other God. If you want to worship some spiritual power, some person, you want to worship a spirit, a ghost, the son of God, the cousin of God, whatever you want, you can't do it. No matter how enticing, holy it is, you cannot worship anything else except for the creator of the universe. That's the essence of God, tremendously high. Ideas. On the other hand, that same, in the same breath, it says, don't kill, don't steal. If so, this shows two opposites. The highest comes down to the lowest, and the lowest is coming to the highest. Who is God speaking to? He's speaking to murderers. To people that you have to tell them, don't kill. This is what it was accomplished at the giving of the time of the Torah. Both opposites. Number one, Elyonim, the upper worlds came down. The highest idea, I am God, came down here. But Tachtonim, Yalu Lamaila. And people who were potential murderers, they became, how do you say, the pupils of God, the essence of God. Elyonim, the highest things, the name of the word, Anochi, I am God. I am the creator of all being, of all the spiritual and the physical, and you should not have any other God. It came down to the physical world. Zalana Rupkum, they came down when an heron oich in the Devorim, they should be felt also in the lowest people. Don't kill, don't steal. Oich and the mitzvahs in his commandments, which are selbstverständlich, which are self-understood, Leuten menschliche Verstanden, according to human understanding. Darf sich heron in zer getliche, you have to feel godliness, yesod und kraft, and the power of Anochi. Even in the most self-understood things, you have to feel that you're doing it not because it's normal and it's good, because it's logical and it's moral, but you have to do it because you're doing God's will. Oichdem kiyum, from the mitzvahs, even those commandments that you do, from the logical commandments, should not be just because of your human understanding and your human intelligence. As men darf abheden, that you have to do these commandments. Nor mitzad, but because of them was seinen angezogt to govern from Anochi, because I am God, your God. Noch mehr, even more, does darf sein, it has to be the ikr, the main reason for which people don't kill. The reason you don't kill is not because it makes you feel bad or you feel that it's morally incorrect, which is true. Those things are true, and it's very good not to kill for that reason. But eventually it's going to stand up some Hitler or some Stalin or someone that's going to say, it's don't kill Germans, don't kill loyal communists, right? But anyone who's opposing to us, it's helping the world if we kill them. Oy menzel upteilen them lo tirtzach. If you separate from don't kill, if you separate the commandments of not killing and not stealing from I am God, and you shouldn't have any other gods, unze iber lazen to them, and if you leave it to human understanding, then is oyster them. Not only that, was mitzad ahavas atzmo. I'm sorry, I don't know why the picture goes bad like this. It goes really weird. But there I am. Asmo, Egana love a person naturally loves himself as Kenan say ozoi tzad dirin. You can said rian tzedrian. Oh, tzedrian. You can mix things up. Biz as an avera vet ois geteilt veren gor for a mitzvah. You can think that the sin can be a commandment. Let's take the most blatant example of all. I mean, you can find there's no blatant example on that. You have Christianity. Christianity claims that it's according to the Bible, right? 10 Commandments. In the Gospels, there's no commandments at all. There doesn't say anywhere in the Gospels you're not supposed to kill, you're not supposed to steal. That comes from the Torah. From the Torah, they say we're doing the Torah, but the Torah says you're not allowed to worship a person. So what do you do? How do they figure that one out? So they figure it out some way. It says it's only for the Jewish people. The Jewish people are going to be gathered. They're going to be taken to the land of Israel. They're going to be okay. That Israel means without feeling the oneness of God, that the commandments are unchangeable. Then you can change anything you want. You can explain anything you want to that is going according to the Torah. You can murder, you can kill, you can rape, you can do anything you want to. Therefore, there has to be unification of both of them together. There has to be, on one hand, the highest of the high, that you're connecting to the essence of God, higher than the spiritual, and that has to affect even your lowest, most natural urges and impulses. And certainly, as men can sich dan nit ois hitten from lo tirzach and lo tignov in an edler oifen, for certainly won't be able to do in a more delicate way. Wie like shvichas damim durch far shemen, for instance, shaming people is like murdering them. So you'll say, well, that doesn't. It just says in the 10 Commandments you're not supposed to kill people. It doesn't say not shaming them, and not only that, it says in the 10 Commandments. It means, how do they say in America? Honesty is the best policy sometimes. In other words, when it works, you don't kill people. When it says a person, genevas adas, if you lie to someone, that's also called stealing. Like it says, I'll call pishaim techaseava, because all sins cover over love. Yeah, they made the Crusades, the Inquisition, right? It was made by the church. And what did they do to kill people? They killed people. They killed the people because these were people that were against exactly what they thought. So you can go and kill them. Or if alle sind verstehen, but on all sins covers over love, etc. Punkt wie b'shas a mensch, just like a person zulegt a finger, puts a finger over his own eye. Vet der kleiner finger, his little finger, mitzad them, because of the fact what? It gefindt sich nehmen, because it's found near to him, as verstellen, the ganzen Welt, that covers over the whole world. Vasarum, which is around him. Azoi is mitzad, also is because of a person is close to himself. Vasa mensch is nenzu sich, a person always loves himself, and therefore a person, how do you say, is bribed by his own self-love. The love that a person has for himself, it can cover over everything. So therefore, if you just command in the 10 Commandments, don't kill, don't steal, and you don't connect it to I am God, then everybody feels themselves that they themselves are God. A person can even do the biggest sins, and the psha'im, this means sins that are done on purpose to rebel against God. Can also be, you'll find a way to excuse them also. A feel of Venice, and then as wollt gewen, der Metzios zu Kayem sein mitzvahs mitzad seichel enoshi. Even if it could be that a person thinks, Judaism is a good thing. I'm going to do the commandments because it's a good thing. And here's the Bible. I'm going to go to heaven. So it's worthwhile. Right? It's worthwhile to do. Is aber the up fang the oif fabe. What is this? Oif, I'm sorry. Oif geve from a Yidden, but it is the task of a Jew to vereinigen alle seinen Meise, to unify all of his deeds, even the simplest deeds, with the Anochi, with the oneness, and I, the statement that I am God. Und the Rebbe, by means of this, darf sich bei ihm hören, the Anochi, then he will feel the Anochi, the I of God, the essence of God, in jeder Zach and everything that he does. Even the good deeds which zijn verstandig, which are understood with human understanding, they'll be permeated with godliness. And there's nothing that a person does will be because of his own logic. I mean, again, we can take the example, the Germans were like the best example of this. They were the most logical and intellectual, progressive, I say civilized nation, perhaps in the history of the world. They had the greatest philosophers and the greatest music, came from that whole the culture of German culture, Germany and Austria, and especially there were books on morals and ethics and the deepest philosophies and how to be a good person, and Kant and what is what is it, the logical imperative, what do they call it, the categorical imperative, that people should feel this incredible genius minds that they had, and from that came the biggest bloodbath and cruelty that maybe man has ever seen in history of the world, and it was all explained logically. Be there diak and lush, like the rabbis say, even if the Torah would not have been given, then we can learn modesty from a cat and stealing from an ant. It says ants don't steal one from the other. And cats, before they go to the bathroom or after whatever, they cover over their manure. Ventora, volt chas v'shalom, if the Torah had not been given, then volt min upgelearned, we can learn modesty from a cat, thus uphidden, that which and keeping ourselves from stealing, we can learn from a ant. You want an organized society, so learn from the cats and learn from the ants. Mir volten uphidden, you could keep away from, at least in a certain measure, you could keep from yourself from immodest things, or the licentiousness, or however the cats, a certain degree of modesty that they have. People would not, that stops a person from just going to the bathroom in the middle of the Manhattans and streets of Manhattan. You could understand from a cat, this is a natural way to do things, that people should be a little bit modest, that you don't steal. People don't just grab people's things from them, right? Whoever is stronger rules, because you can learn that from an ant. Nowadays, unfortunately, they're stopping learning from ants, and people are worse than ants, and people the people, they break into stores in mass and they steal things. You're not allowed to stop them. Things are going crazy because there's no belief. It's the laws are not connected at all to God, and everybody feels themselves are God. During uplearn, say from the Bali Chaim, you could learn these things from natural animals because, yes, this we just finished saying. Good. But nitna Torah, but now the Torah is given. Once it is given, it was given now the power to vereinigen. We have the power to unify Mila with Mata, the upper with the lower. A person can ask himself, okay, so why should I believe in God? It's going to make a better society. Here, look at the religious people. They have a better society. So you can say, yeah, the fact of the matter is maybe, it's very rare that there's murder, and stealing is not so, obvious. It's not so rampant, and certainly there are instances in this. But the Rebbe is not saying that you do it for a purpose, that it'll be more orderly, the world will be more orderly, and that humanity will be more human. That could be, and I'm sure that it will be. It would be, but that's not the point. The point is to reveal God, the creator in the creation, that everyone themselves will feel meaningful, that it'll be a meaningful thing to do what God wants and not steal and not kill. And it was not so much the results that come from it, even though there definitely will be positive results, and Moshiach will come to make peace in the world, an orderly world, but more so that it'll be every single human being will be connected to his creator, to his purpose, why he's here in the world. As I feel the mitos, then even the good character traits which people have, and which are found in animals, darfen ze durch gegaan mit dem kedusha from Torah. Even these character traits you learn from animals, they have to be permeated with the holiness of the Torah. And as if the only motivation you have for not stealing is because ants don't steal, and that'll make an organized society. So eventually you're going to say, listen, I want a little bit more. Makes me feel good to have a better car than somebody else, or even more, to have somebody else's car. Ze sollen getan werden mit Kabbalah's oil. It has to be done with accepting the yoke. In other words, you do it not because it's logical, because you want. Malchus Shamayim mitzadem was their Eibishter because God had say. When did this begin? Only when the Torah was given. A tachtonim, that's what it means. The upper worlds come down. Also, the lower worlds go up. Afilu venis redet zich wegen azoy. Even when it's talking about such a person who is a murderer or he is a thief, and in order to stop him from to fulfill what it says, don't kill and don't steal. As Darfman haben ze kolos, there has to be all of the thunders and the lightning that was in Mount Torah, the fire, with ganzen storm, with all the shaking that was in Mount Sinai. As the Eibishter God Himself, soll stehen und schreien, that God should come and scream off that person, don't steal, don't kill, don't steal. As mont men oich by ze yale lialyonin. That's what it means, that these people who are potential murderers, God says, I want to elevate you to the upper worlds. I'm talking to you. As oich ze, that also they, sollen haben his boners, they should be able to think, und yidiyah, and a knowledge about what God is, that God cares about them, and He cares very much about what they do. What is the Gor Hechsta? This is the highest wisdom that there can possibly be. Like the Rambam explains, Maimonides explains this in the beginning of Mor Nevuchim, that a comprehension of God comes after, kumt la'achar hagdamas kol hachachmos shalifneze. After a person learns all of the wisdom, like Abraham did, he learned all of the wisdom that there was in the world, and then finally he's decided that the wisdom that was the source of all the other wisdoms is knowing God. When in Yediyas Elokus, and knowing God itself, Manzich is demanded. Afilu from Zay, the Yediyah, knowing that Elokecha, that God is your God. That's what it says, the 10 Commandments is, I am God, your God. Unafilu in Havaya, the essence name of God, is Afilu in Anochi, even a higher name of God, which is Anochi, is relevant even to the lowest of lowest people, and it should be internalized. That's what happened in Mount Sinai. It elevated the most simple deeds to the highest levels, and it brought godliness down to the lowest type of people. The Ibra Gementer, this previously mentioned idea that we just said, joining the highest with the lowest, and giving the power, which is oiv dem ganzen gegeben geworden, and the power to do this was given, is oich merumas. It's also hinted at the 3 words from the 10 Commandments. So the 10 Commandments, we can see how the highest of the high came down low, and it was even to the most mundane things. You do it because God Himself commanded, and also how it brought the lowest of the low high. Even the murderers would be able to stop murdering because God was speaking to them. This idea of bringing the highest to the low and the lowest to the high is also hinted at in the first 3 words of the 10 Commandments. I am God, your God. Was the drei Wörter, which these 3 words, but Seichen, they indicate the Oiberstreichen, the three and they stress the three general levels in revealing godliness in the world. Number one, take the last. I am God Elokecha. Elokim means godliness which is in the world. It created the world. In Yeder B'Shefen, in every creation, tut zich an a get l'kay koach, there's a godly power, was unplugged, which is revealed, loidem matzav from dem nivra, according to the nature of that creation. One minute. It doesn't go. Okay, 1 second, 1 minute, 1 minute. It's not over yet. How did he say it's not over till it's over? Why is it work? It's not working for me. 1 second. Somehow or other, this whole business froze up on me. Okay, let's go back. Let's go back. Here we go. Share. Okay. This was it. Elokecha, this is Elokim is plural. So this shows while the Bechina from Elokus, godliness, was tut zich an in the Bria, which is enclosed in the creation, Zayin and Faran in the Farshidna Oifani Giloi. God reveals himself in many different ways of revelation, right? The ways that it's revealed in minerals is different than plants. And there's who knows how many millions, billions of types of rocks and shapes of minerals and things like that in the world, and how many plants there are, different types of plants, and how many different, if for no other reason that every grain of sand is in a different place. So each one, even the same thing, they have so many variations. This comes from the name of Elokim. Val de Bechina from Elokus, because godliness, which is in the creation, Zayin and Faran, in them, Farshidna Oifana, there's many different ways of revelation. In Yeder Nivra, in every single creation, in a Bezundur Koach has a different power, was is Tzu Gepast, which is fitting to it. A cat has the life of a soul of a cat, and a dog of a dog. And the Rebbe, and therefore, is Elokecha, the name, this name of God, which is called Elokim, is the same numerical value as nature, Hateva. While the Bechina and Elokus, because this godliness which is in the creation, is under nature. This is what makes nature. In fact, the word nature itself means something which is above understanding. Why does a cat meow and a dog barks? That's its nature. We don't understand why. That, so to speak, is the godliness in that. Was thus is which this is also the ois sprach. That's what the expression of Elokecha, your God, means. Was thus is their einzige. Oh, here, let's make this bigger. Was thus is the. Your God, which this is the einzige Shem, the only name from all the other names of God, which is relevant to the creations. Elokecha, your God. None of the other names of God, it says there's 7 names that aren't white, you're not supposed to erase if they're written. None of these other have can be mine. Even though the word El can be, well, okay. Elokeinu, Elokechem, etc. Val matzad them was their shame, but the name of Elokim, right? The third of the first 3 words of the 10 Commandments, Elokecha. This is the level of godliness which is, so to speak, contracts himself according to each creation, and it is relevant that we can. This is the aspect of God that we can understand a little bit with God of godliness, creating the world. Therefore, it's called your God. It's ours. The second name that's used in the Ten Commandments, that's the third name, Elokecha. Second name is Havai, Yud-Ke Vav-Ke. This is the aspect of God which is higher than the world, higher than all the creation. It's higher than any nature. This name of God, which is called Havai, Yud-Ke Vav-Ke, this means has all the letters of time, past, present, and future at one. The name of God is Yud, and then Hey, and then Vav Hey. Those are the composite letters of the words in Hebrew for past is Hey, Yud Hey, Haya, present Hey, Vav Hey, Hoveh, and future Yihiyeh, Yud Hey, Yud Hey. This is past, present. One name means past, present, and future at once. Now, this is impossible. You can't have past, present, and future at once. I mean, what is in the present is not in the past. It's present now. And it certainly is not in the future. How can the past, present, and future be one? Right? Well, it says, but God, when he created the world, he saw the future, the past, the present. It all existed at one time by him. That's always the question that's asked. If God could already see what's going to be, so we haven't got free will. God already saw it's going to happen, right? Good question. We'll talk about it later. But nevertheless, that's the fact. Over Havivi on Atid, past, present, and future is far right. Past, present, future. This is in Yiddish. Und sie können nicht sein zusammen. They can't be together. But Hashem is higher than time, and he's higher from nature. And there, by this name of God, Haya Havivi, there's past, present, and future can be totally one. That's the second name of godliness. Was in them untershade this difference between this is the difference between the faith of the Jewish people and the faith of the righteous Gentiles. The righteous Gentiles, they can only know from the name of God that creates the world. But that's pretty good if you can know that. The name of God that creates the world. What says Malubich, this is enclosed in nature. Elohim, everything, Elohim Yanet Shalom Paro. Like Moses said that the name Elohim, he will give peace to Paro. Paro had a connection only to the name Elohim. But Vegan Shemavaya, regarding the name of Yudke Vavke, but Paro said, Mi Avaya, who is Yudke Vavke, that I should listen to his voice. I don't know Yudke Vavke, this name of God. This is above understanding of Paro. Anochi, that's the second name of the three names that God starts the Ten Commandments with. Anochi Hashem Elokecha. Elokecha is relevant to creation. Yud-Ke, Vav-Ke, the name of this is, so to speak, above the whole creation, above spiritual, above physical. What's the name Anochi? I guess I have to buy a new camera or something. I don't know what's going on. Okay. The name Anochi, this is God's essence. Was im can men nit but zeichen, which you cannot give any real name to. All you can just say is I. I am who I am. That's the essence of God. The Lois Romis, it cannot be hinted at any letter or any even how do you say the tip of a letter. Thus says this means as thus is hechad. This is higher not only from the revelation of Elohim or his nature, but this is a higher aspect of God, an essential aspect of God, which is even higher than the name of Yud-Ke Vav-Ke, which is above nature. There is nit magbil, is not limited in any limitations. Not in the limitation of nature, not in the limitation of being above nature. Was darfan, which therefore can err for Einikan, therefore this aspect of God called Anochi, I, can unite both opposites. Was there Gila, which the revelation from Anochi, I, God's essence, is given that was the revelation that was in the Holy of Holies, together with the tablets in the Holy of Holies in the temple. Dartat men gezen, we could see how it is that Makom Aaron, the place of the ark, Eino minamida, it's not measurable. We talked about that before. That the room of the Holy of Holies was 20 amas wide. And the ark was 2.5 amas wide. It was actually long, but the length was put. And when you measured from one end of the ark to the wall, it was 10 amas, and from the other end of the ark was 10 amas. So if so, that's the whole 20 amas was measured from one end of the ark to the wall to the other end of the ark. What about the 2.5 amas that the ark itself measured? So it said it wasn't measurable. But if it wasn't 2.5 amas, then it wasn't an ark. It had to be exactly measured. So it was there and it wasn't there. The ark, at B'Shas Maisa, had to be a measure, like it says, 2.5 amas, like I just finished saying. So therefore, its place, it had a place, and it was higher than any measurement. Unified both. That's the Torah. What was in the ark? The Torah. Well, thus, this is what it means. I am God, your God. By the giving of the Torah, as Gegevin Gavorn was given the power of Anochi. The power of Anochi, which is not Anochi, which is a power which is not 1 minute, which is not limited in any sort of limitations. And from this aspect of Anochi, comes the joining, can be joined together, the Havaya, the name of Yud-Ke Vav-Ke, which is above nature and above understanding, and understanding, and above all the creations, with Elokecha, which is the level of God which is in the creations. That's what happened in Mount Sinai. There's the revelation of this name of Elohim. Oh, this thing is really bad on this. Okay. Anyway. Uniting. V'gazek free, like we said before, mendar for anything. Therefore, if you can, by means of this, you can unite don't be a murderer and don't be a thief with Anochi, the essence of God. Even people that are potential murderers can be connected to the highest aspect of God. And the highest aspect of God comes down into the world. You shouldn't have any other gods, which is the highest things within the uniting, and the unity of God can be expressed and embodied by even the potentially lowest type of people, the people with the lowest urges. They can be raised up to the highest of heights to be connected, to do everything they do, even stopping themselves from murder, because they're connected to the essence of God. The highest of high revelations. That's what was accomplished at Mount Sinai. The essence of God came into the world, and the world was elevated to be able to reveal the essence of God. This was actually manifested in the Holy of Holies, and Moshiach will make it that it's manifested in the whole entire world. The world will be filled with the knowledge of God like water fills the ocean. Thank you very much. God willing, tomorrow morning, 8:15, we will finish the Davar Malchut that we began and prepare ourselves for the giving of the Torah that we're going to hear this Shabbat. Shalom Uvracha. Have a good day with Moshiach now.